Well, nothing like starting a meeting with drama. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the November 12th meeting of ANC 2C. I would like to call this meeting to order at 6:15 p.m. Please note that we are having a little bit of some computer drama this evening. I am currently unable to see the chat. We will, the chat is behind me on the screen, but I can't see it in front of me. So bear with me as we go through the process this evening with you. We have a fairly full agenda this evening. We would like to start with hearing from doing some community announcements with our local government organizations. And then we will come back and have an update regarding the Green Court shelter update. This is an update from last month in which some questions were asked, and Chief of Staff David Ross promised he would come back, and he's here this evening to address those questions. We do have two items on our community consent agenda for this evening. That is the Chinese New Year 2025 parade, which is going to be Sunday, February 2nd, and the America's Trot for Hunger, presented by some on Thursday, November 28th. The consent agenda, when we get to that point, basically means that the commissioners have reviewed the applications for these events, and we will move forward with making a decision as a group to consent to those. We will then go through and have an APCA licensing discussion. For transportation and public space, we do have a discussion regarding a resolution for permanent streetery program that would extend until July 20, and the extension of the temporary program that will extend until July 31st, 2025. And then finally, we will end the evening out talking planning, zoning, environment, and historic presentation. We will have an update on renovations regarding the Capital One Arena. We will hear from 610 to 624 I Street Northwest, the development update and the demolition of a warehouse. And we will also be reviewing signage regarding 727th Street Northwest, which is Raising Cane's Chinatown. Is there any additions or corrections to the agenda, commissioners? Nope.
Nope.
Okay. Any community members have anything to add to the agenda? Okay, we will move forward. I like to move that we approve the agenda as posted. Seconded by Commissioner Lee. All those in favor, if you can please acknowledge by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Got it. So 3 of 3 commissioners voting in favor of that. Sorry, Becky, I can't see you. You're behind me. So thank you. I would like to start the meeting off this evening by introducing our commissioners. To my left, we have Commissioner Lee. Would you like to do an introduction?
Hi, everyone. My name is Thomas Lee. I'm Commissioner for Special Member District 2CO3, which encompasses Penn Quarter and the National Mall.
And Commissioner Strauss.
I'm Becky Strauss, representing 2CO2, which is downtown K Street.
Terrific. And my name is Michael Schenkel. I'm the chair of ANC 2C and represent 2C01, which is Chinatown Penn Quarter. I would like to begin by congratulating the newly elected commissioners in the room. We have over here Nancy Groth, who is newly elected, who will be joining us in January, filling the seat of Commissioner Strauss. for 2C02. Thomas Lee was reelected for 2C03, and Jim Swart for 2C04. That was a position that had been vacant for some time and is now been filled. So I'd like to congratulate everyone for running and for becoming elected to the ANC. So thank you. Commissioners, have you had the opportunity to review the meeting minutes for September and October? They were not posted yet until the commissioners approve them.
I will review. Can we come back to it a little later in the meeting?
We can postpone that. Absolutely. We can do that at the end of the meeting this evening. Sure. And Thomas asked that the treasurer's report, be moved down as well. So we will move that down to the end of the meeting as well. Do we have anyone from MPD2 with us this evening?
Hey, what's going on? This is Sergeant Robinson from the 2nd District. How are you?
Hey, very good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Let me just pull over real quick so I can advise you guys what's going on in the 2nd District. Okay. Can you guys hear and see me?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay. All right. So once again, greetings. I'm Sergeant Robinson. I'm the Georgetown Sergeant for the 2nd District. I'm filling in for Lieutenant Garvin, who's under PSA 209, 2C area. As of right now, for the month of October, we had only one violent crime, which was a assault with a dangerous weapon, knife, which is still open. It was in reference to the 1300 block of New York Avenue. 2 unhoused individuals were in a verbal altercation, which then turned into a physical fight. One brandished a knife, stabbed the other unhoused individual several times. He received non-life threatening treatments. We do have video footage to include still shots of the suspect. And in the nightlife area, we have 1 robbery gun arrest in the nightlife area. That individual is a juvenile, and he was arrested in reference to that. Additionally, in reference to that case, we did arrest 4 additional juveniles and recovered 5 guns. Thanks to the collaboration of 2D and 3D. The 2nd District recovered 274 guns as of now. 0 motor vehicle thefts in 2C. Theft from autos is down by 33%. And Lieutenant Garvin will also like for you guys to attend a community walk Wednesday, October 27th at 5 p.m. The meetup location would be November 27th. I'm thinking about back in the future, 1 month ago, but November 27th at 5 p.m. The meetup location would be the Tate Restaurant at City Center, the 1100 block of 11th Street, and that is all I have for you guys.
5 p.m. the time for that?
Yes, 5 p.m.
Got it. Terrific. Thank you very much for that. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Lieutenant Robinson? Is it Lieutenant? I'm sorry.
Sergeant Robinson, Georgetown.
Sergeant Robinson. I'm sorry.
I do not.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Sergeant Robinson, for your work. And thank you for being with us tonight and reporting.
No worries. Thank you. You guys have a good night.
Thank you.
Hey, good evening, Captain Herbenak from the 1st District. Thank you. Thanks for putting this on. no violent crime to report in the first district. Just just theft from autos I'd like to report out, and then I'd like to touch base a little bit on burglaries. We had a couple of burglaries. So we're going to continue our deployment in reference to violent crime to make sure we continue to have another 0 month. We're very proud of that. But one of the issues that we've been having is burglary of commercial establishments. So I'm going to drop my email in the chat. I just want to kind of go over a couple of things that businesses can do to kind of help stem any burglaries. One is protective film, cameras, and alarm systems. So protective film on windows is really important, especially if a lot of the commercial establishments down and ANC 2C have big, large plate glass windows. That's definitely one thing we encourage. But two of the simpler solutions is working cameras, and the city now extends the camera rebate system to small businesses. So that's definitely something to look into. And burglar alarms. There's two things with that. One is that they're activated. We've had a couple situations where staff has not activated them, and the business has been basically left unprotected, and people are broken in, and we didn't find out till the next morning. And the second is active monitoring. Make sure that those burglar alarms are actively monitored. We are responding with high priority to any burglar alarms, especially of commercial establishments at night. And lastly, make sure there's good owner information on file. If we do unfortunately find that something has been broken into, or back door has been pushed in, we're going to want to get in touch with an owner. So even though we can do a walkthrough, make sure the place is safe, we're going to want to get an owner or some sort of associate on scene so that we can determine if anything was taken, what was broken, and access to the camera footage so that we can start tracking. A lot of times these things can happen in quick succession. People are only suspects are only inside for minutes, and then they move on to another location. So if we can get in, and even if we're not able to catch them on scene, but help identify them with camera footage, we can stop it from them from hitting the next business. We work very closely with our real-time crime center to make sure that we're tracking vehicles, lookouts across the entire city, not just the first district, to make sure that we're combating those. So again, I'll drop my email in the chat. I'm happy to send our community outreach team to you and to your establishment if you kind of want a little bit of a walkthrough and to see what kind of if any vulnerabilities you have and how we can kind of help and what you can do to kind of shore those up. But I'm hoping, knock on wood, that we'll continue our trend next month with zero violent crime. We do have a number of large concerts coming up and events at Capital One Arena. We'll be having those our normal special operations division deployments in those areas, as well as some overtime officers. So you're going to see for some of the larger events, you may see a larger police footprint. I don't have much information on January 6th or inauguration just yet. We are still in the planning phases of that, obviously pretty into the thick of it right now. Hopefully closer to the election for either for the December to the inauguration rather. In the December meeting, I'll have a little bit more information kind of just about what to expect, perimeters and access points, especially for those kind of on the Pennsylvania Avenue, New York Avenue areas that may be having some issues. Other than that, I can answer any questions you all might have.
I'm just curious, how does a business put their, like, the owner name or an associate name on file?
So that's usually done so there's a couple of ways you can do that. That is 99% of the time done with the actual alarm company. But what we find that happens, unfortunately, is numbers can be out of date. I know people switch cell phone numbers quite a bit. And that you can also, people, if you have, say, not an owner, but a manager, managers can move on and people won't pick up. So the most important thing is to have a number on there so that when the alarm company alarm goes off, they will notify the police, will respond quickly, but that we can get somebody in the middle of the night. Because a lot of times what will happen is we may find a door that's been left open and we don't know if it was accidental or on purpose. So definitely something that you should make sure is up to date. with the alarm company, the monitoring company is the most important part, because that information does get shared with our Office of Unified Communication. And when the officers get like a readout on their computer of the call they're going to, it'll say owner contacted, owner en route, and stuff like that. So that's really important. We do end up getting that information.
Got it. That's really great information to have. Just another question for you. I know that you recently there was the new DDOT traffic plan that was put in place around Capital One Arena. That seems to be going pretty smooth. I believe. I'm just wondering to know, have you heard any feedback or any concern regarding that?
I haven't. I know that it's kind of helping keeping traffic flowing, which is good in certain spots. I will. I'll talk to my officers and see if they have any input on it and let you know for sure. But I know it's been in effect for just about maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah, I believe so. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Captain Harbeck?
Yes. You mentioned there was, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You mentioned something about a window film. What does that help with? Is that just, what does that do?
Yeah, so it comes in a variety of things. It could be like an actual film that you roll on, and it's kind of similar to the film that's on a windshield. So when you crack it, it doesn't shatter and immediately open. It kind of keeps the glass in place and actually makes it difficult for people to, push through or get inside. Some people opt for plexiglass, and then kind of one of the tougher ones is actually like a pull down metal screen, but obviously that depends on your landlord and the actual environment you're in. But there's actually like I believe 3M, I want to say 3M makes it, and they're able to, it's a covering that goes over and it keeps the glass from shattering.
Awesome. Thank you very much. If there's any community questions, I know that you may be able to. This is a question potentially for second district. Let's ask. See what happens.
Yes, go ahead. I'm still here.
Oh, great. Thank you. Actually, I have two questions. One is Saturday, November 2nd. Ty Abela from the Mokers liaison called me to let me know that there was a shooting in my SMD that you didn't mention at 4:00 in the morning, Saturday, November 2nd, 1800 block of M Street. Large crowd fight broke out, discharged weapon, somebody shot in the stomach.
No, we don't have that.
Okay, well,
Do you hear anything about that?
I'd like to follow up on, see if there was any, she told me on the phone that there were two people that they had images of that they were looking for.
Okay. The address was the 1800 block of M Street.
Of M like Mary Street, yes, in front of the
Okay.
Talkin' Taco.
Okay, 1800 block of M Street.
There's
And you said November
nightclubs near there
2nd.
on Connecticut Avenue, so we sort of
Correct.
presumed it
Over
was.
there where Camelot, Empire, OZOs. You
Yes.
said November 2nd.
My other question was dry cleaners in my neighborhood, the 1300 block of L Street, had her glass door
Yes.
shattered. And
I'm sorry. I wasn't able to get the first one. You said November 2nd, correct?
November 2nd, yes.
Okay.
4 a.m.
And what was the other incident?
The other incident was somewhere around 2 weeks ago, the 1300 block of L, like Larry Street. Dry cleaners had her glass door completely shattered. She still has it boarded up. She hasn't been able to replace it yet, but I wonder if there was police follow through on that.
So that will be considered a destruction of property if the business was not burglarized, or if the business wasn't burglarized, that wouldn't be considered a part one offense. That would be considered a misdemeanor, which is a destruction of property. And what was that address of that business?
It was 1300, the 1300 block of L Street.
1300 block of L Street.
And it was a cleaner
Yes, cleaners.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and I'll advise Lieutenant Garvin to follow up with these two and get back with you. And what is your name again?
Nancy Groth, Groth, I'm the commissioner-elect for 2C02.
You probably didn't hear that. It's Nancy Groth from,
Nancy Grove,
yes, the commissioner-elect for 2C02.
Commissioner-elect for C2.
2C2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll make sure Lieutenant Garvin follow up with you.
awesome. Thanks so much. Any other
You're
questions? Thank you both. Thank you, Captain Herback, and thank you, Sergeant Robinson.
Anytime.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Next, we'll move on to the Office of the Mayor.
Hey,
Ward
Michael,
two- Yes, I'm sorry.
It's Lucas, and I know Ty might be speaking about this when she gets on, but Camera Connect is also a tremendous tool that a lot of our property owners and businesses should really be looking at. If they already have existing cameras, it's allowing essentially tying in their existing cameras to the real-time crime center. That way it allows MPD to access cameras during investigations to really get timely information. So that's a great tool as well.
Perfect. Thank you for that. We'll move forward with Ward 2 Mayor's Liaison. Is Ty on with us this evening?
Yes, good evening. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and take a moment to share my screen. Just give me one moment. All right. Can you all see that?
Yes, we can see it.
Wonderful. I hope you all are doing well this evening. I just want to introduce myself. My name is Ty Abilla. I am the Ward 2 Manager with the Mayor's Office of Community Relations and Services. So I work towards identifying and addressing constituent concerns that take place in Ward 2, not only residents, but business owners as well. So if you ever need to reach out to me to have an issue identified or addressed, my contact information is listed here. I would say my preference is email, but please feel free to call me or text me at any time so that I can work towards addressing that issue for you. Just wanted to talk a little bit about 311. It's a great app, a great resource, especially if there is real-time issues that you're seeing in the community. And that could be illegal dumping, that could be road infestation, a parking sign is out. 311 works very well to enter that information and that data to give us real-time resolution dates. If you do go ahead and move forward with submitting a 311 request, I also encourage you to share that request, that service request number with me, and I can work towards escalating that issue or concern with you or for you. So if you haven't done so already, I strongly encourage you all to download the 311 app. And taking effect today, this evening at 7 p.m., the first hypothermia alert of the season is going to be activated at 7 p.m. Please check on our unhoused neighbors, our seniors, and vulnerable individuals. If you see someone who may be in need of assistance, please utilize the contact information below. I know we have some great working partners alongside with us, including the Downtown DC Bid, who also have additional information and resources available. But please let us know if there is someone who may be in need so that we can work towards making sure that they have the appropriate resources. And to get emergency alerts when you need them, please look into signing up for Alert DC. If you're looking for, I believe there's a question about road closures, Alert DC is a great platform to receive that information. You'll go ahead and receive that information directly to your phone. If there is a critical incident in your area, even to weather, Alert DC provides all things emergency updates. So please consider downloading or signing up for that platform. And we are well within the midst of our fall leaf collection. On Monday, as of yesterday, we started Section B. And so if you or a neighboring resident is looking to find out when their leaf or their leaves will be picked up, please utilize the leaf tracker that's provided here on this page. And I'll make sure, Chair Schenkel, that you get this PowerPoint information so that you can share it with the community.
Thank you.
If you are feeling depressed, anxious, or not quite like yourself, we do have resources available. So if you or someone that you know is in need of some additional resources, please feel free to utilize the information that's provided. This information is also anonymous too. Again, please reach out to those that you are comfortable with, that you trust, so that making sure that you're getting the help and assistance that you need. Getting into some resources. So the registration for our DC Hires Veterans Career Fair is officially open. So if you or someone that you know is looking to take that next step in your career, the opportunity is here for you. So please consider registering for the upcoming event. Next, and I know sometimes we may feel as though that's a bit redundant, but this is a great tactic. If you do see something, please say something and report it. So I have provided anonymous report hotline number that you can go ahead and contact in the event that you do see something of suspicious activity. And also additional resources as the days and nights get colder. Let's work together towards keeping our community safe. Just kind of circling back from previous pages. If there's someone that you see, someone that may be unhoused, who is in need of assistance, please utilize our vast array of resources that we have available in DC so that we can support our neighbors. And this is just kind of a cheat sheet with some of the DC agencies that I work alongside with closely. If there is an agency not listed here that you need to be in contact with, please feel free to send me an email and I'll be happy to connect you with the appropriate contact person. And last but not least, just want to leave you all with our social media platforms. This is another great way to stay up to date with the latest information and so that you can see what's going on within Ward 2. And one last thing that I would like to add, I'm always open to do community walks. Doesn't have to be led by a commissioner. It can be a resident within the community. If you would like for me to come out and as well as bring along some of our DC partners agencies, please let me know if there's a specific area of concern that you would like for us to have a set of eyes on, to have awareness for, and also to help find a solution for you. I'm definitely happy to help. So please don't hesitate to reach out if there's any questions or if you'd like for me to come out for a walkthrough. And that will go ahead and wrap up my presentation.
Thank you so very much. I really appreciate that. Could you go back to your first slide that you presented information on? I believe someone was trying to capture something on that slide.
Absolutely.
I heard someone say, wait a minute.
Was it this contact sheet here?
Oh, you found it? You found it? Okay, you got it. Okay, it was gotten. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Awesome. Commissioners, do you have any questions for the mayor's office? Yes, we have a question from the audience here. Do you mind using the mic so they can hear you? Because they can't hear you otherwise. Thank you.
Hello, my question is this community walk, is this just for like if there's some sort of safety issue or a police issue?
Anything in between. It could be public safety, pedestrian safety, any matter, issue of concern that you have as a resident. We definitely would love to make sure that it's addressed and that we do have the appropriate DC agencies in the know and are aware so that we can find you a solution. So yes, that would include those areas too.
Okay, because my the reason why I'm asking is because I was looking actually for like a community group that actually like does walks for exercise. Anybody in this meeting know about something like that?
I'll be more than happy to connect you. We have different programs within DC, just DC as a whole, and specifically Ward 2, when it comes to health and wellness. So if you do have a moment, I would love to connect with you offline, and I could just send you some resource information in regards to some health and wellness activities and also tips if you're interested in.
Yes, I'll email you.
Wonderful. Looking forward to speaking with you.
Thank you very much. Terrific. Thank you so much, Ty. We really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from the Office of Ward 2 Councilmember Brooke Pinto. Is Maddie on with us this evening?
Hi, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
I can. Thank you.
Awesome. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Maddie White. I am Councilmember Pinto's scheduler. Hope everyone is having a good week. I will skip my PowerPoint presentation, so hopefully I am brief. But I just wanted to say, I know because of last week, some of us have some concerns about what the next 4 years will bring to DC, especially as residents of downtown who live in such close proximity to the White House and the Capitol and are so impacted by federal policies. So just know that Councilmember Pinto and our office will continue to stand up for DC residents, for your needs, for your rights, and for home rule. But on a happier note, I want to congratulate those of you who were reelected and our 2 newly elected commissioners. Welcome, Commissioner-elect Groth and Swart. We look forward to working with you. As a reminder, your swearing in will take place on Thursday, January 2nd, at the Washington Convention Center. You should receive some more details at a later date from OANC, but we can connect on that to make sure you have those details. Just a quick legislative update. The Committee on the Judiciary and Public Safety recently had a hearing on a few different bills. One of the bills would ban child marriage for anyone under the age of 18 in the district. Another bill aims to help reduce the risk of suicide and would allow DC residents to voluntarily put themselves on a do not sell list for firearms, known as Donna's Law, which has been recently passed in neighboring states. And the third bill was ensuring that incarcerated women who are pregnant are able to have safe and supported pregnancies. We have a few upcoming hearings I wanted to let you all know about, and I'll share this information in the chat. But the third of this fall's oversight hearings on OUC, or the Office of Unified Communications, will be coming up on December 4th, and will specifically focus on technology, as well as multi-agency coordination. And on December 10th, there will be a hearing on Secure Apartments for Everyone, also known as the Safe Regulation Amendment Act of 2024. This bill would mandate on-site security assessments by the Department of Buildings, also referred to as DOB, for any property that meets a certain safety threshold. So it also requires the Department of Buildings to issue security reports detailing what safety measures should be taken in certain buildings, and expands the scope of the Nuisance Abatement Act to include crimes of violence, and also require that all rental properties that have 5 or more units maintain self-closing and self-locking interior doors. And then the next oversight hearing on the ONE's office, or the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, is on December 11th, and that will focus on violence interruption, or VI, programs in the district. And Thursday, the COW, or the Committee of the Whole, chaired by Chairman Mendelson, will hold a hearing on the redevelopment of Capital One Arena and the Monumental Sports lease agreement. I know they're giving a presentation later, so I'll keep it brief there. But Monumental Sports will sell Capital One Arena to DC and lease it back through 2020 or 2050, and it includes renovations to Capital One Arena and portions of Gallery Place. I know we look forward to asking some questions on Thursday on the record. during this hearing, but we are so happy to keep the Wizards and the Caps in DC through at least 2050. Another kind of new update I wanted to share with you all is that there's going to be a new middle school in DC. So Councilmember Pinto helped secure funding for a new Center City Middle School that we are expecting to open at the site of the old Banneker High School, which is on Euclid and Georgia Ave. So outside of the ANC, but it will be a feeder school for Cleveland, Garrison, and Seton elementary schools. There's currently a live survey up now until November 22nd about the new school. So I'll post that link in the chat if anyone has any input there. I know that ANC 2C does not have residential leaf collection, but you do likely still get clogged drains from leaves. So if you notice a clogged drain now that we're getting rain again, please call DC Water's Command Center. I'll put that phone number in the chat. They're great and can come out and clear that drain. I also wanted to emphasize Ty's message regarding 311. In my personal capacity, I use 311 all the time as a Ward 1 resident. In my community specifically, I use it for rodent control, and I am now in regular communication with the rat inspector in my area, and he's fantastic, and they are very responsive. So if you've ever thought, I'm not sure if anyone will really get back to me, I highly recommend giving it a try. And yeah, once again, always reach out to Ty or myself or anyone at our office to help you out with those requests. And then finally, I know that many of us have some questions and concerns regarding the Green Court site. I know we have DHS here tonight also to help answer questions, but I just wanted to start off by thanking Commissioner Strauss and Commissioner-elect Groth, along with a variety of stakeholders who met with our office recently to discuss your concerns around the site. We've relayed these concerns to the council member and are looking into your questions and requests. And I know you're probably looking for some greater certainty from me at this meeting, but I can assure you that we are looking into this and taking your concerns very seriously. So thank you to the ANC and the stakeholders for meeting with us and really being open to sharing your concerns. Our office will continue to work collaboratively with the ANC residents and the business community on this issue. And Lynn Groft, our legislative director from our office, will serve as the point of contact on this issue. And I will drop her email in the chat as well, so we can all stay in communication. Please let me know if you have any questions. That's all from me, and happy to take any questions or comments as we go.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Maddie. I appreciate the update. And am happy that Councilmember Pinto was, of course, reelected. So that is also good for us as a Ward 2. So thank you. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Nope. Do any community members have questions for the council member's office? There was a question from Nancy Roth around the projected timeline for the constituent meeting that a response may be provided.
I don't have a timeline for you right now, Commissioner-elect, but I will be checking in with Lynn this week and see if we can get back to you soon.
Yes, Father DeRosa. Sorry, thank you.
Good evening. I'm Father DeRosa. I'm from St. Mary's in Chinatown, and in addition to the Green Court shelter, the Pat Handy shelter is getting ready to reopen, if not reopened already. And I just wanted to put that back on the councilwoman's radar, given how spectacularly bad the situation was when men were there temporarily during COVID. We'd like to know specifically what kind of new security measures are in place for the safety of the female residents who will be moving in there. And obviously that will pour over to the well-being of the community as well. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for the question, Father DeRosa. I will note, I know we've been talking a lot about Green Court, so I will also note the Pat Handy Shelter conversation back in. And I know we do have DHS, so they might be able to provide specific updates now that it will be a women's shelter rather than housing men.
Terrific. Thank you very much. We do have another question from the floor. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Jamila. I live at the Pat Handy Shelter. It's going on a year, and this coming December, I'll be there a year. I'd like to first ask, is that shelter in which 2C district is it in?
2C01.
That's you.
That's me.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. We're still currently at 11th Street. We were told, like, I would say 5 different meetings about this is the date we're moving. When that date would come, or the day before that date, no, you're not moving. No, we're not moving. The last date was last Monday and Tuesday. So the Monday and Election Day was the slated date for us to move to the 5th Street building. But that was canceled Monday morning, early Monday morning, that was canceled. I don't know what else to say. I just want to say that the majority of the women in the building are not a threat to people that live around where we're currently at, or where we're going to eventually move. I personally, I don't know what shelters are moving into the building once we move to the 5th Street, but I personally want to stay in that building, but I don't know what kind of shelters or programs are going to be in the 11th Street building, but that's all I really want to share right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that feedback. Yes. Yes, if you could, please, that would be great. You can make that
Testing,
higher.
testing.
You can make that higher if you like.
Just a little, sir. I'll just take that. Good afternoon. My name is David Ross. I serve as Chief of Staff with the DC Department of Human Services. So both the Pat Handy move will happen this week. Your case managers will begin to communicate with you tomorrow and Thursday. And so we hope to effectuate that move, at least started Friday and complete, may bleed a little bit into the weekend, but the moves will happen this week. And both Pat Handy sites will be female facilities.
Both sites.
The original Pat Handy and the extended site for 11th Street that we came in, we messaged back in June.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Got it. It will stay a women's shelter.
Yes, sir.
Got it.
Perfect question. So I'm going to bring up Mr. Anthony Newman, who is the Deputy Administrator for Singles Operation, who can answer that specific question.
Thank you, David. So the Pat Handy program that you're referring to will be moving back into their Pat Handy building now that the construction and remodeling, I think it's probably better, the remodeling project is complete. The women who have been in the swing space at 11th Street will be returning. In the short run, we'll continue to use that swing space through hypothermia season, and ultimately the Madison Women's Transitional Shelter will be in that building as well, while the Madison building is under its renovation. And after that, then the Madison women will return back to their building, and then we'll be bringing another program in. But as for right now, there will only be one Pat Handy program, and they're moving back to the Pat Handy location. I tell you what we can do is we can put you in contact with the folks at Madison and reach out to make sure I get your number before we leave. We'll make sure someone talks to you about that.
Sorry. So the question I had was, what new safety measures are going to be in place for the Fifth Street location. I know that Deputy Mayor Turner got back to me and said that a new firm had been hired because the previous one had failed spectacularly again. But for the sake of the women who are going to be there, so that they should not be taken advantage of or otherwise have their vulnerabilities taken advantage of, and obviously for the good of the neighborhood as well, what kind of proactive work will this new security company do to maintain the alleyways, the street, the sidewalk, all of that sort of stuff where outside bad actors who are not residents of the shelter have historically made problems for residents of the shelter and residents of the neighborhood?
I'll answer that this way and say that for one, it's hard to address the first part of your question about women how outside actors have been taking advantage of the women. That's a question that I don't know how to answer because I'm not sure what specifically that addresses. But with that said, areas outside the building, in the immediate area, again, I don't want to misspeak for my colleague who oversees that, who's not here today, but I will say that we work very closely with the MPD, that we establish those relationships with them. The people inside the building, the security department inside the building, will continue to do perimeter checks in and around the immediate part of the building. They're not authorized by legislation to go any further than that. So that you won't see the folks from the PSD provided security, the DHS provided security, addressing like things across the street.
They were here, had a conversation over the last 3 years. My problem is that when the men were there were drug sales, drug consumption, there was violent crime on the street. There were members of the, again, admittedly, the previous security company who were buying alcohol in this store across the street and then consuming it while on duty, to the detriment of the men who were housed there and obviously the neighborhood. There was filth in the alleyways behind. I'm talking about human excrement and urination, and all sorts of other problems. So please don't tell me or the neighborhood that you guys didn't know to think about this in preparing to build the new building, because we insisted on better management going forward, and you had to know that somebody was going to ask these questions going forward, because what happened around that building, I don't necessarily blame the residents. I blame whoever was surrounding the building, presumably endangering the residents, okay? But they also endangered our neighborhood, people with children who live in the neighboring apartment buildings, etc. So please do not sit there and tell me that you didn't have any idea that these issues were going to come up, because we talked about this. I don't know, Michael and Thomas can vouch for this.
Well, I'm not sure I don't think I hope I'm not leaving the impression that we are not concerned and are unaware of the concerns of the neighbor. What I'm leaving the impression with is I'm not here. I didn't come this evening and bring my security expert with me to address those particular issues. Not that DHS is unaware with a lot of the folks who came to that building who were not part of the men's program, who were selling drugs, who were not part of the DHS clientele, who were attracting people who were not necessarily coming out of the building. And when we had connected with MPD and we put the lights on and we could see, and we were aware of a lot of the trash that was coming from those folks, as well as some of the construction trash that was happening in the building next door to it, that a lot of folks attributed to the Pat Handy building that was not the Pat Handy. So I don't want to give the impression that there is no culpability for being responsible for DHS and how it approaches it. But I also don't want to take on the burden that wasn't DHS's burden. For example, the trash that overflowed massively in the building it was from the construction program. The drug sales that were going on, we know because we actually tracked down, we did walks with council and with MPD. And so we can say with a certain amount of certainty that those were not clients of DHS nor attracted to the program. I only say all that to say it's not that your concerns are invalid, but I also want to give perspective and make sure we have a helpful conversation so we can address the particulars of your issues that are the ones that we can address, and the ones that we can't, we can work on liaison with you with those partners and DC government. David, I don't know if you wanted to add anything.
I don't know that I need to, other than again, reiterate that we did do walks with Councilmember Pinto and Robert White. We did identify opportunities to add lighting in the alley. And I think what also exacerbated that issue is that we were knee deep in the pandemic. There was an issue of encampments that the deputy mayor's team has worked hard to clean up in the city. And so through that experience, because Reverend DeRosa, you and I through email met each other. I think this is our first face-to-face. I first learned that, wow, we need to do better about our messaging and better about our coordination. And so I reiterate what Tony said. We want to be very mindful of clarifying what we control and what we don't control. And what we don't control, it's still our responsibility to work with our sister agencies to address for you.
And I think that, thank you for all of that. And I think that one of the major concerns is we understand that legislatively, the security team is not able to secure the perimeter of the building, but they need to be responsive and be the proactive voice that calls MPD or calls the other community partners that gets reaction, because that should not be left to just residents of the city or folks that are living there. That should be a responsibility also of the security team.
Agreed. And as Reverend DeRosa mentioned, that's why we changed security teams, right? And so you know better, you do better, and we expect better.
Terrific. And we have one more question and we'll move forward if he.
Excuse me, Commissioner, I hate to interrupt. This is Jaron Price online. We're having a really hard time hearing any of the folks in the room. And so a few folks have mentioned it in the chat, but I don't think you guys are seeing it.
Oh, got it. No, we're not seeing the chat. I apologize.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for bringing that up. Here we go.
What 2C is the 5th Street building?
2C01.
Okay. And that is who?
That's me. So the former and the new are 5th and 11th are 2C0.
Are under you?
Under mine.
Okay.
Yes.
And the security team that you all are talking about, is that the team that's inside of the building?
Yes.
That's Capital City Solutions?
I'm not aware.
Because that's the current security team inside of the current Pat Handy building is Capital City Solutions.
Right. I'm not aware of.
Okay. And were there some issues when it was all women at the 5th Street, or was it just when it was all men?
When it was all men.
Okay.
Yes. Not when it was women. Not at all.
Microphone. Hold on.
Sure.
And just because just to level set, because I'm not sure who knows what, so I apologize if this is misstated. The Pat Handy program that's moving back into Pat Handy building is the Pat Handy program that was in there before, and it's the same provider. It'd be In Street Village, who was the provider before, who will be the provider again. And to David's point, yes, not only the security, but we expect the program to have eyes on things in the neighborhood too, and our outreach. And I'm sure we'll meet with the neighbors just like we probably have that responsibility to. So yes.
Got it.
What's that? No, the men was Catholic Charities, but the men's shelter was managed by Catholic Charities at the time. But even cutting Catholic Charities a little bit of grace, because at the time, again, it was a program that was responding to our pandemic need. It was never intended to be there in the same vein as the In Street Village program is.
Terrific. Thank you so much. We're gonna take one more question. This looks like, sorry.
Yeah, I just want to address one thing. Far as, people doing natural things, which is, trying to use the restroom. There are solutions out there for that. And in my experience, it's very hard to find a restroom in that area. So I suggest maybe you guys put a throne out there. They've been working really good other places in the city. And of course, we have the Facilities Act, which does give incentive for businesses to open their restrooms to not just homeless people, but in general, right? And you as commissioner should encourage businesses to take part in that.
Thank you for that feedback. Appreciate that. Definitely. Oh. This is the question in the chat is related to the hours of operation. Previously, shelters
Or 7 is having.
kick people out in the morning or something. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The current programs that we're running for all our low barrier shelters is 24/7 at the moment. Each shelter deals with its housekeeping individually because there's nuances to every building. And so, you know, some buildings we move people around the building, some people we act. So, but the folks are not clearing out the building. The building is open 24/7, just like the program you're used to on 11th Street.
And I would like to, would you guys like to do your presentation now? And I will, since you guys are up here and you guys are ready to go. And I think that it may help clear up some other questions that may be emerging as well. So, Lucas, I'm sorry if I could just have you stand by for a minute.
I'm just getting the presentation.
Oh, he's gonna pull the presentation. Okay, great. And you should have the ability to share, I believe.
So as Tyler's preparing that again,
if you could use that, please.
So we came out here last month and we shared updates on where we are at with Green Court, and we promised to return with some questions that we received from the community. So if it works with you all, we can either go through this presentation again, or there are 2 specific slides towards the end that you all will receive in writing that we wanted to go over, which were some of the questions we heard last week. So if that works for you, Tyler, I think that's slide 9 or 10. So overwhelmingly, last month, one of the main takeaways that I went back to our team, our leadership at DHS and our partners at DGS, was the community was really interested in understanding how we came about to select this site. So we wanted to be very intentional with how this site was selected. So first, back in March of 2020, DGS released what was called a request for space, identifying the need to identify a building between 20 and 40,000 square feet that could support our programmatic needs. So that solicitation was put on the street. In response, the team received 15 proposals, and the team, DGS, DHS, and the district's brokerage team conducted some analysis, evaluated results, and shrunk that list of 15 proposals to 8 final sites. The panel conducted tours, made some assessments, and the final site was chosen based on programmatic needs. So that is an explanation of how we came about to pick Green Court. So any questions about that process? Yes, ma'am, Ms. Groth.
When you toured the shortlisted sites, were there architects or engineers, or how much homework did you actually do on this site?
So the tour would have been the DGS, DHS, and district brokerage team and their expertise at the time in 2020. Okay. Next slide, Tyler. Oh, sorry, question. I apologize.
It's sort of a 2-part. I hope that's okay. The first one is like, what were the sort of specific like vision you had in mind? Were you looking for specific things for a specific space, for a specific type of like bridge shelter? Like, what were you looking for? And the second is, were you planning for like a demolition or using existing space or open to whatever? Just curious on that.
Those are great questions. And that was a part of first the request for space to identify, one, is there a current space that could operate as is? That's how the sites were sort of shrunk down. But as we will get into the next slide, and that might answer your question, it's not necessarily a done deal, right? In that there's still what will happen by December is we will release a design solicitation now, right? So once we receive that design solicitation, part of that deliberation will include a construction feasibility assessment. And at that time, we will make the determination this is feasible to move forward, considering some of the issues we heard last month, which is, Tyler, if you can go ahead and go to the next slide. There were issues of the alleyway and accessibility. All that will be conducted once we release the design solicitation in December, get proposals back, and then we can conduct that feasibility. So we're looking at around, considering you release a solicitation about 30 to 45 days, takes about 30 to 45 days to review. So we're looking at mid-February, March to be able to confirm feasibility to move forward or not. And of course, we will come back, Commissioner Schenkel and everyone, to keep you all informed of that process. Does that answer your questions? Perfect.
Thank you. Would that capabilities and limitations include a rough guess as to whether to tear down and build up or renovate the existing structure?
It would include all of the above. And I'm sorry.
Including one of my concerns is because it was occupied by printing presses for like decades, whether there are any toxic chemicals in the site, like before you dig down to put in new foundations for a 10-story, for example.
So, Commissioner Ms. Groth, what I realized with the Aston is that when you are not demolishing and constructing, there is no need to conduct an environmental impact study when you are just doing renovations. The design solicitation will tell us what is feasible, a demolish and build or a renovate. And part of, if the decision is to demolish, we have to do environmental impact studies.
Terrific. We do have one hand up, and that is from, it looks like it's from Tom Grollo.
Yes, Tom Garola.
Garola, sorry about that. It's a bifocal issue on my part. Forgive me.
That's fine. Like guitar, my friend.
Yes, Tom.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming back again, Mr. Ross, and appreciate some of the background on just the site selection. I feel like maybe I'm going to get a little granular here or geek out a little bit on stuff, but the financial and qualitative criteria that was modeled, I'd love to see what that was like. I don't know if locating this shelter near a liquor store was part of the requirements, but you definitely have a site that is very close to a liquor store, which seems to have worked very well in other locations to create a little bit of chaos amongst the unhoused. I don't think the unhoused should be close to any type of liquor temptation, but neither should a lot of other adults. But my point is that I think the criteria has missed a couple of very big points, also including the economic impact. There was a request that I put forth on trying to understand the economic impact that this will have on the area, particularly on tourism, business tourism, recreational tourists, and of course other businesses nearby, both in the office buildings and the retail component. Was that ever taken into consideration? Is there a report that we can see that analyzes this economic impact to the neighborhood?
So that due diligence would have been a part of the initial solicitation in what responders are telling us what is possible, what is not, considering those factors. I'm glad it's sort of in part of your question, you sort of explained that not everyone who is unhoused has drinking problems, right? And so that's a gross assumption that I don't think any of us would want any assumptions made on us based on either our circumstance or anything similarly. The district is 10 square feet by 10 square feet, or square miles, excuse me. So within a 5-block radius, north, south, east, or west, there will be multiple liquor stores. And whether you call them liquor stores or wine and spirit centers, they sell liquor. And so our responsibility as the district is to work with our sister agencies to understand how we are showing up as a community partner and how we're not showing up and need to do better vis-a-vis attendance of these meetings, responses to the many inquiries we get, to ensure that our unhoused residents have the same dignity and rights as our housed residents, and we can make this work together. We all have the same goal to leave our house in the morning and go be successful and chase our dreams. And we want to come home and be safe and be secure. And that's true of however your rent is paid. And that's why we're here to work with you, Reverend DeRosa. We've learned our lesson from Pat Handy. We've heard folks loud and clear. The expectation is you shouldn't have to become a Rolodex to figure out who to call. That's our responsibility. And no matter how difficult the conversations get, we will always come back to have with you.
Well, Mr. Ross, thank you for your answer, and just wanted to retort and provide a little bit of background here. The unhoused are a vulnerable population. I think we can all agree on that. And putting them close proximity to a liquor store, I think, is irresponsible. There are a lot of vulnerable populations that district recognizes, schools being one of them and others, which is why ABRA, so-called ABRA, but they have regulations on how close certain establishments can be to liquor stores. I don't know why that requirement isn't there for shelters, which I don't know if you allow alcohol inside your establishment, but if you don't allow alcohol inside your establishment, why would you place this establishment so close to a place that sells it, providing temptation for some to partake in their beverage outside? I just feel like within the site selection that was missed. I mean, that would be a big X in my book for this location. The second one is we still want to see an economic impact. I'm going to take your answer as no. Economic impact study was not performed. I just came back from California where a location was rejected for a unhoused facility. It was going to take over a hotel. The locality in San Mateo County realized how it would have a negative impact on the tourists in the area. Local hotels agreed, and that location was basically relocated, and that site was not selected. So I think that you need to look into this economic impact study a little deeply, because there's going to be a lot of pushback on that. And it's irresponsible to move forward with that one.
Received, and I appreciate that feedback. And I'm glad you referenced San Mateo. I'm actually leaving to California tomorrow. I'm from the Bay Area. And I'm glad you referenced that, because the Bay Area, San Mateo, is very different from the district. San Mateo is very spread out. San Mateo does not have our infrastructure, is not 10 square miles by 10 square miles. And San Mateo does not have our bus lines, our metro, our resources. So that comparison is like almost comparing bananas to kiwis, because we still have federal government. We still have tourist attractions. We have shelters. And whether we open a shelter today, that doesn't stop a businessman from buying a property and opening a liquor store tomorrow, right? And so our responsibility is not to control business. Our responsibility is to be good community partners, be good stewards of government funds, and to engage like we're doing now. We will continue to do so.
Right. And we will take one more question related to this. I believe there was a question on the floor. Sure.
All right. So I like I said, I reside currently at Pat Handy. Do I want to be there for another 6 months? Of course not. Do I feel that the way that DHS or their contractors handle our individual case management the most efficient way? No, because I think I should have been placed in some other type of housing by now. But one thing I can say that I don't like, but I have to follow the rule is, and I don't know really how true this is, but I was told that I can't bring hand sanitizer inside. I definitely can't bring alcohol inside, but I can't bring hand sanitizer inside because there's an alcohol content in the hand sanitizer, and some people use that to, because they have this substance abuse issue. I don't drink alcohol, period, but I'm older than 21. So if I want to, and I'm not at the shelter, why? I mean, Giant and other grocery stores sell alcohol. So I don't understand that opinion of this neighbor on the line. But then if that's the case, then where in DC can a shelter be placed that's not within 1 or 2 miles of a wine and spirits? So I don't think there's any place in DC where that could possibly be done. I don't understand. That doesn't sound logical to me. But for people that are, and plus the shelter right now is low barrier, and a low barrier shelter really means that everyone has to be treated like the same way because they don't know who has an alcohol problem or a substance abuse issue and who doesn't. So there are rules that I have to follow that, like I said, I don't feel should apply to me because I use hand sanitizer to sanitize my hands. I don't drink it, but I have to follow these rules because they're trying to make it so that everyone can live inside of there safely.
Yes.
So
thank you for that. I appreciate it.
I just think the one, thank you for that. I'm not aware of us banning hand sanitizer, but again, Mr. Newman said that he would follow up with you afterwards. So please give him all that information and we will have a response for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And as DHS moves through this process and as the design, I'm assuming the design proposal you said will be out within the next 30 to 45 days, probably.
We're on, Tyler, if you can go back to the timeline slide, please. So according to our timeline, we have the solicitation being released at some point between July. You all will get copies of this presentation. I promise you, you don't have to take, you will get the whole presentation. The projection for releasing that solicitation was between July and December. Again, this is a 3-year project, so these are all projections. But in preparation for tonight's meeting, I did check with our facilities team and they anticipate that will be released mid-December. So the 30 to 45 day release period is from mid-December to January. Then we'll have sort of a review of what we received, which is why I'm thinking if not, depending on when your meetings are, either February or March, we'll be able to come back and give you an update about next steps.
That's great. That's great. And I would, and these are RFPs are public RFPs. So if folks want to look at the solicitation of what DHS or GGS,
General Services.
Has put in that solicitation, because this is not all DHS driven. I don't believe it's part of the broader DC government has an input in.
Very correct. DGS serves as our almost real estate agent or construction company, right? So we are the company. DGS, this is the space we need. Please procure it. And the process we shared on the slide previous are the steps they are taking to support the client's request for a 20 to 40,000 square foot facility.
Great. Thank you so very much.
So you can go to the Office of Contract and Procurement, because honestly, I can't commit to reminding to send 1,500 people RFP links. So it is a public document. The district's Office of Contracts and Procurement is the procurer or the facilitator of contracts for the city. You can actually sign up to receive alerts, and you will receive any alert along that line that you request.
Got it. Terrific. Thank you all so very much. I appreciate that. And we're going to move forward. Thank you, Chief Ross. Thank you. I appreciate it. It wouldn't come out. Sorry. Thank you for being here, and thanks to your team as well. We appreciate that very much. We will now move forward with an update from the downtown DC bid. Lucas, are you still on?
Yes, I am. How's it going?
Hi, Lucas. How are you?
Good. How's everyone doing? Thank you for having me again. I'm usually not welcome many times back, so I appreciate everyone. Let me pull up and share my screen. Hold on one second. Can you all see my my screen?
Yes, we can see it now.
All right, perfect. I like to always kick off our meetings really with some of the clean and safe data. I think it's always important to try to put some information together that allows us to showcase some of the work that we're doing around um, the bid and really to show the value of our organization to our stakeholders and our partners. So some of the things that I think are relevant to clean and safe, which clean and safe, you can't have one without the other. So I think these are essential to really continue to showcase some of the great work that our organization and all our partners are doing. We tend to average between 6,900 and 7,300 trash bags collected, and this is in the and I'm sorry, I've only updated it for the Chinatown corridor. I will update this with the entire bid information and share these with all the individuals on this call at a later point. I'm sorry about that. We collected over 40,000 pounds of bags, 40,000 pounds of trash on a monthly basis. Removing stickers, posters, graffiti is a big part of the work that we do. And even though these numbers range between 230 and 270 on a monthly basis, some of these are multiple either posters or stickers or graffiti. So that number is really much higher than these individual units. Our safety team, which continues to be a presence in the Chinatown corridor. Thank you so much for. We were a grant recipient of the Safe Corridors grant, and we're very thankful for that, which will allow us to continue our pilot program. Our hours range between 740 and 960 hours a month. A lot of that work is really about building community relationships and really observing and reporting information that will allow us to provide feedback to our partners, our stakeholders, that will allow us to be proactive, not reactive. Routes completed. Those are essentially digital routes that we've created using our technology app, which allows us to track some of the work that our teams are doing. And we range between 5,000 and almost 7,000 checkpoints a month. Routes completed are certain amounts of checkpoints in particular areas, and those range between 700 and 900 completed routes on a monthly basis. What those business wellness checks are extremely critical to the success of our program, and that really allows our safety team to engage with our business owners. I think this approach is extremely important to build trust. The trust allows us to gather better information that we could then provide to our partners and our stakeholders, which really allows us to make better timely decisions. Just alone in the Chinatown corridor, over 1,600 hours are dedicated to really pressure washing, trash collection, sidewalk cleaning, special projects, leaf collection, watering plants. We put a lot of focus not only in this area but other parts of the entire bid. We take a lot of pride in really creating an environment that creates memorable experiences for our visitors, our stakeholders. And I think I look at our job as being experience makers. How does someone feel when they walk in the bid, from the moment they walk in to the moment they leave? That is the way we like to approach the work that we're doing. Some of the other functions that our team does, that I think are impactful. Right now, I know a lot of us live in DC, and we're accustomed to the leaf collection process. But here in the downtown bid, our team does that. Even though we don't have a lot of residences here, our team does all the leaf collection for the entire bid. We use our personnel and our street sweepers as ways to collect the leaves. So if you have any areas that you feel haven't gotten any attention or need more attention during this leaf season, please reach out to me, and I'll make sure that we deploy a team out there to address it right away. Another area that we're really putting a lot of focus is really utilizing public art as a beautification tool and activation tool. And we really believe that changing the perception of public spaces really creates experiences. On the lower right corner of our slide is the light installation that we did with the National Portrait Gallery. Please take a walk through that area. It's on 8th Street between E and F. Let me know, if you've walked there prior to the lights being installed. I would love to know how people experience that street now that we have a light installation. Does it change your feeling, your mood when you walk through it? Also, it creates more light, and that's also a safety. It's a way to address safety issues. We do regular pressure washing. So if you have an area that's in need of pressure washing, please reach out. We're more than welcome. We'd love to come out and make sure that we're able to provide some support around that as well. One of the things that we did in collaboration with DDOT was install 21 bike racks on 7th Street. Our initial approach to installing the bike racks in that particular area was to address the scooter and the e-bike parking, which were thrown all over the sidewalks. That's a huge safety issue, and it's also an eyesore. And we felt that installing these bike racks gave people a place to park their scooters and their e-bikes during their visits to the Chinatown corridor. I know now the challenge is now that the mopeds are parked there, but we'll be able to figure out some other solutions around that to improve that as well. The safety team, as we talked about it, we're 7 months into it. We were a recipient of the Safe Corridors grant. Really, it's about building relationships with our community, to be able to gather critical information that we could provide our partners and our stakeholders. The technology is a major component of our team. We have a design technology app that allows us to drop smart tags, which are essentially digital stories of the daily observations. One other thing that is a big part of the role that we're doing is around outreach. Where our teams are out and about, and we're able to really engage with the unhoused community and figure out ways to provide support and resources for not only our unhoused community, but we're able then to address some of the concerns around the unhoused community that our stakeholders may have. We work very closely with DHS, Pathways to Housing, and then H3, which is our vendor for outreach in the area. Our team also does a lot of outreach. So if you have any issues or challenges around the unhoused community, or you're just looking to provide some support during this cold winter months, please reach out to us. We're able to address these. We're able to provide support and address some of the challenges that may arise around the unhoused community. I appreciate everyone taking time to hear me come to these meetings and give some updates. I'm very impact is a huge part of what I love about this job. I live in DC. I've lived here for 27 years, and being able to serve and create impact for not only the city, but for my family, I'm very grateful for that. And I'm very grateful to be involved in this great community.
Great. Thank you so much, Lucas. I appreciate your update. And I do like the lighting on outside the Portrait Gallery. I think that does add something to that street for sure.
And thank you so much, Michael. One other thing I have to mention, the holiday market 10 days away. We are so excited about some of the activities and activations that we have going on. November 22nd through December 23rd. Please come with your friends and your family, and enjoy some of the stuff that we're doing. I think there's so many great activations. We have the ice skating rink at the National Building Museum. We have the National Mistletoe at Anthem Row. Please come enjoy it. I think we're going to be able to showcase not only the holiday market, but really the city. In a time when there's so much uncertainty, and we're all thinking about inauguration ahead of time, we should enjoy the moments of the holidays. And I think that they're going to be bigger and better than any other time. And we're so fortunate to be bringing the holiday season to DC.
Great. Thank you so much. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Lucas in the bed?
I do. Lucas, I walked past the light installation on 8th Street today and on my way here, and I really like it. But I've noticed that the installation on the eastern side of 8th Street is much nicer than the installation on the western side of 8th Street. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. What I've learned about, that's the beautiful thing about public art, right? You have to deal with the elements that you're dealt with. And we had to work with the environment that we had. And that's public art, and Hotel Monaco was so gracious to embrace this activation, and that allowed us to really lean into that side of it. But that's how it goes. It's public art. There's so many. I think what I'm proud of most is that we engaged our stakeholders and invited them to the table, and it didn't turn out the way we wanted to, but at least we had conversation around ways to work together. And this time it wasn't, we didn't get the success I felt like on that side of the street, but for the next installation, I think there's always great opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from community?
There's a question. Oh.
I am not certain what the question means about Chinatown Gallery Place Improvement Plan.
Oh, hi, this is Kasha.
Hey, Kasha.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good, good. It was that back when we did that program with the Post-its.
Yes. The 8th grade ideas.
The 8th grade ideas, yes.
Yes.
How are they looking?
Hey, I'm actually happy to chime in here if it's helpful, Lucas, and I apologize for the background noise here. This is Jaron Price, the Downtown DC bid, and I can say the work of the Chinatown Gallery Place Task Force included that charrette and feedback session around the sort of 8 big ideas to help transform the community. Where we are with that process now, I know that the task force is working on a final set of recommendations that will be made towards the latter part of this year. And so I know they're aiming for that to happen before the end of the calendar year, with a game plan of really identifying, what is the potential cost and, sort of timeline that would take to implement some of those ideas. Obviously, some of them have a variety of complicating factors associated with how they can get done. But I know there's a goal of being able to make some recommendations for the FY26 budget to hopefully bring something to fruition as early as next fiscal year. So certainly excited to see where everything lands. But there was a lot of really great feedback collected that I know members of the task force are moving through and reviewing now to make those final set of recommendations.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for that, Karen. Appreciate that. Go ahead. One more question here.
We can't hear you.
Yes, I think our mic might have died. This
Got
was
it.
related to the DC circulator, and the discontinuation of that. That was a budget decision made by the mayor's office to cut the circulator. It is unfortunate. Through the mayor's office and approved by the council. Yes. Thank you. I don't believe there's anything else. Thank you so much, Garen and Lucas. Appreciate that.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Next on our agenda is the two local events that impact the community. This is the Chinese New Year's Parade of 2025, which is Sunday, February 2nd, 2025. And the American Trot for Hunger, presented by SUM. This will be on Thursday, November 28th, 2024. I would like to move that we send letters of support for both of these events.
I second.
Seconded by Commissioner Lee. All those in favor? And Commissioner Strauss had to drop off this evening. So 2 of 3 commissioners voting in favor of that, with Commissioner Strauss being now absent from the meeting. We will move forward with that, with alcoholic beverage and cannabis licensing, APCA. The first item on our agenda is Perkins International Restaurant Holdings, LLC, the trade name Fuddruckers. This is ABRA 120414 for a new retailer's Class C restaurant, and this is at 781 7th Street Northwest. Do we have anyone on representing the establishment?
Good evening, Mr. Chair. This is Sean Morris, counsel for the applicant, and Nicholas Perkins, who is the proprietor of the establishment, is also on the call this evening. Thank you for making the time for us.
Terrific. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Do you want to give us a little update about the establishment and the license?
Certainly. I'd be happy to. This is again Sean Morris. I'd be happy to give an update on process with respect to the application itself, and then Mr. Perkins would be the better suited person to give an update on on plans for opening and things of that nature. So the application has been submitted. It's been placarded. The goal for the establishment is to open sometime in early December, which is why we're here and seeking the ANC's support. And we humbly request for the issuance of a letter of support for a stipulated license so Fuddruckers can get open before the holidays and before the ABC board and all the other various agencies recess for the holidays. We have, in addition to appearing before you this evening, we have met with some of the abutting property owners and some of the residents of the residences that are immediately above Fuddruckers, or what will be Fuddruckers. We were made aware of some concerns related to noise as related to the operations of the prior establishment in the space. We had a very productive, at least I thought, and I hope the residents agree, I had a very productive conversation with those residents yesterday. Mr. Perkins, I spent some time answering questions. We listened to the concerns and actually entered into an agreement, which has been provided to you, Mr. Schenkel,
Yes.
regarding some agreements and stipulations related to the operations, particularly as it relates to the second floor of the establishment. And I'll turn this over to Mr. Perkins in a moment, and we'd be happy to answer any questions. But as I'm sure you all know, this establishment has 2 floors, and it's the second floor that it directly abuts the residences. And I believe Mr. Perkins was able to provide some assurances that the manner in which the second floor in particular at the establishment will be operated in a manner as to mitigate and ameliorate to the greatest degree possible any potential disturbance with the residents. And Mr. Perkins also expressed a great willingness to be responsive and communicative in all possible ways to make sure that this is a pleasant and productive neighborly arrangement between Fuddruckers and the residents, and the residents immediately above, but also the community writ large. So with that having been said, I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Schenkel, or to Mr. Perkins, and happy to answer any further questions you might
Sure.
have.
We can go ahead and Mr. Perkins.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to express my sincere gratitude for the opportunity to speak with you all regarding Fuddruckers re-establishment in the Chinatown community and our impending opening of the new restaurant that we are pushing toward in December of this year. We are hopeful to have our permits approved in the coming weeks so that we can get the very minimal modifications finalized in order for us to be able to meet our desired time frame for opening. The process for the application, as Mr. Morris explained, for the liquor license, we began in November and are, very hopeful to obtain the support of the ANC for the stipulated license that we may be able to have to open in December. So we wanted to again thank you and answer any questions that you all may have pertaining to the restaurant.
No, thank you for bringing Fuddruckers back to downtown DC. That is awesome. I did have a couple of questions related to the settlement agreement. It looks like the downstairs would be a bar area and with some televisions, and the upstairs would be the restaurant. And are there televisions or speakers on that second floor?
Yes, there is a bar on the second level of the restaurant that will be activated, however, will not be marketed. The bar downstairs will be the traditional bar area, but we did want to make available to families that would traditionally come to Fuddruckers and expect a traditional Fuddruckers experience to still have access to spirits should they desire that, because the space is built out to accommodate such. There will be televisions in that particular bar area that will not be dedicated to simply always playing sports. As we spoke to the residents yesterday, that we would certainly work to develop a soft level of background music that would play traditionally in Fuddruckers that would not become a nuisance. And so we, once the systems were installed, that we would work together with that respect. And the same thing with the televisions. I explained that those televisions will not be connected to that speaker system and will not have that booming and thundering sound that we understand has caused adverse impact to the people who live above it. So as I explained, we are a family restaurant. The second level of that restaurant will be very traditional in that respect, and will not operate as a sports bar, if you will.
Got it. Thank you for that. And you, and what I'm looking at, it appears that you are in agreement to this, and you signed off on this settlement agreement.
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. That sounds great. I would like to move, we send a letter of support for Fuddruckers and for a stipulated license for them pending the full execution of the settlement agreement with 777 Gallery Place. Seconded by Commissioner Lee. All those in favor? So 2 of 2 commissioners voting in favor of that. We will get those letters off right away. And Mr. Morse, we will copy you on that letter so that you have that for the stipulated license.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm very grateful for your cooperation and courtesy this evening.
Thank you all.
Terrific.
Mr. Perkins, this is Commissioner Lee.
Yes.
Quick suggestion would be for you to invite the members of the community above you over at the residences, which you abut to a grand opening at your restaurant.
Absolutely. Certainly.
That'll build some goodwill.
Certainly.
I do have one addition to the agenda, and this is related to an establishment requesting a stipulated license. Yes, I did. And this is related to 777 LLC. I believe it's Gaia Supper Club for a retailer's Class C tavern license at 1025 Vermont Avenue. This was just placard. Just the placard just went in for this, I believe. And Cameron, are you on with us?
Yes, thank you, Michael.
Sure. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're looking for here?
Yes, I'm joined by the representatives for the applicant. There should be a Mele Milton on here, as well as potentially a Wayne Johnson.
Perfect. Hi, guys.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, well, just forwarding, as he said, I'm putting forward that this is an application for a Class C tavern license. They were hoping to begin operations some way midway through December, and wanted to lay out the concept for you to see that we'd be able to come together on this stipulated license request. So turning it to Wayne if he wants to just provide a kind of operational overview.
Hi, everyone. My name is Wayne Johnson. Thanks for making time for us today. I believe my partner Millie is on as well. Just a brief synopsis. This is going to be a white tablecloth restaurant with kind of a little bit more lively sound system. I would liken it to Shoto, which is not, but a block away. We kind of want to revitalize that block. It's been sitting kind of vacant for over almost 2 years, maybe a little more, and bring a food and beverage aspect over there and a high-end kind of offering. In addition to that, we have the ability to use the patio come springtime, and add again some more liveliness to that otherwise kind of quiet and not very I guess not a lot of foot traffic over there right now in Vermont, since so many of the businesses over there have kind of shuttered and closed down. I don't know if you guys had any specific questions about the concept. I'm happy to answer. The food is going to be a Greek fusion. But yeah, if you guys had any specific questions about kind of the concept of what we're looking to do.
No, I think that's great. And as you said, it would be a Greek fusion. It has you're looking for some garden, some outside endorsement as well, with some tables outside for summer, and an alcohol carryout and delivery endorsement. I don't believe there are any residents around there. If my memory serves me correctly, I'm just kind of glad.
That's correct. It's the predominantly office buildings around.
It's office, but there's a Yeah, other side of the block. Yes, exactly. I have no issues with this.
I have no issues with it either. It looks great. Is Stan still there, or are you taking over the stands?
No, so Stan's is still there. They're a fixture. I doubt they ever leave. But we are essentially taking over two spaces and combining them into one. It was the kebab place that had been there for quite some time, and then next door there was an Indian restaurant. So we leased both spaces. We removed the wall and we made it one kind of big spawning space. I'd invite everyone to take a look online on our Instagram or even swing by in person. It's going to be very, very beautiful.
And is it going to be, just out of curiosity, like a fast casual lunch and dinner place, or is it more?
No, this is definitely like sit down white tablecloth, high end dining.
That was great.
Great. Awesome. I'd like to move that we send a letter of support for Abra, a letter of support with a stipulated license for Abra 130,359, 777 LLC.
Yeah, I second that. Looking forward to having this in the community and having some more outdoor patio space, outdoor dining space.
Seconded by Commissioner Lee, and all those in favor. So 2 of 2 commissioners voting in favor of that. We will get that letter of support off to you, and Cameron will copy you on that.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, TC.
Thank you.
Have a
so
great
much.
night.
Mid-December.
Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Bye.
Next up on our agenda, I would like to recommend that we table the resolution guidelines for the permanent streeteries for this month. There's no one from DDOT here, right? Good. Then we'll move to table that. Let's move forward with an update on the Capital One area arena and the potential impact on community and Christmas. Gordon, how are you? Do you want me to pull up a presentation? Okay.
Share a screen.
Oh, you have someone sharing a screen. Okay, that's great. Oh, let me see what I can do here. If not, I'll have you sit down.
You can use this over here if you want.
And we'll put you, how about we put you right here? There you go. How's that? Sorry.
No, looks fine, looks fine, looks fine.
All right, terrific.
Oh, there it goes. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Just want to begin by introducing myself. My name is Crispus Gordon. I am the Vice President of Government Affairs and Strategic Engagement for Monumental Sports and Entertainment. Online, you will have 2 of my colleagues, Jordan Silberman, who is the President of Venues for Monumental Sports, and Mary Kate Walsh, who is so graciously running the presentation for me and sharing her screen, who is the Vice President of External Affairs. First of all, let me begin by saying go Wizards, go Caps. We're definitely glad to be here in the Gallery Place, Chinatown neighborhood, and to be presenting here to ANC 2C. And also congratulations to all of the commissioners who were reelected and the incoming commissioners who were just elected. Welcome to ANC 2C. We're glad to partner with you and work with you all in the future. Next slide, Mary Kate. Thank you. And so we'll begin first and foremost, like, how do we get here? And so we know in the springtime, the council appropriated $550 million. That was just the first step of the particular process. We had to go through a lease and DFA agreement. So just to give a few background, you'll see it on the screen. Our ownership structure is shifting as far as Capital One arena goes. And so at the end of our lease, traditionally, the district government would then get ownership of Capital One Arena. What we're doing right now is that we're actually going to do the reverse. And so we're doing a sale leaseback, and we'll be selling the arena to the district for $87 million. And immediately after the sale, it will be leased back to Monumental Sports. That means nothing changes. The best example I could come up with is like Audi Field in Nats Park. District owned, but and so we're responsible for all the maintenance. We'll be responsible for the upkeep. Nothing physically or nothing else is changing with the Capital One Arena. It's just a sale leaseback, which is very common in the sports industry. This will go until June 30th, 2050. So basically, we won't be having this conversation again to my late 60s. So that's pretty much a good thing. Talking about checking the box and an accomplishment, I'm very happy about that. So the captain will be here until that particular time. Next slide. Sorry, Mary Kay. Oh, there we go. Um, our commitments and our engagement. So not only are we very excited about staying here in DC and playing, so have a number of commitments we want to make to the District of Columbia as a whole. And so I'm going to start with our conversations we've already been having. And so we've already talked to the Restaurant Association. We've had conversations with just about every council member. We have all talk with you all as well. One of our big initiatives is called District of Play. You probably heard about this particular announcement. Just want to do a plug for it right there. This is an announcement that we made about a month ago, and it came about from the idea we wanted to leave a legacy here in the district. And so Ted Leons has decided to come up with this initiative to give every kid a basketball in DCPS. We're also looking at refurbishing a number of courts that are under the jurisdiction of DPR. And we wanted to also give students in the youth in DC an opportunity to really participate in sports. Just give an example of something. We worked with DCPS to ensure that the kids had an opportunity to get to our ice rink and actually skate on the ice. And we were realizing that transportation was a burden. And so we decided to jump in and actually close that gap to ensure that youth in DC have an opportunity and actually have the equipment to really participate in youth sports. That's just one of our commitments and for our social responsibility. Our legislative timeline, give you a timeline of what's going to actually happen. Just Thursday, we'll have our first hearing in the committee of the whole. I know Maddie from Councilmember Pinto's office mentioned it earlier. Chairman Mendelson, because it's a land use issue, kept it in the cow, but also gives every council member an opportunity to really participate in debate particular piece of legislation. That's the first thing to happen is Thursday. We're looking hopefully at a vote taking place, first vote December 3rd and a second vote on December 17th, which then will allow us to start, some construction at Capital One Arena as quickly as possible. Another timeline I know many people are concerned about, in addition to the legislative timeline, is the construction timeline. And so we really want to get this by the end of this calendar year, is so we can actually begin construction, renovation at the end of the Caps and Wizards season. So that can be as early as April, which we wouldn't like that, or as late as June, which we really wouldn't like that. Yeah, absolutely. Go Caps and go Wizards again. And so I have our president of venues, Jordan Silverman, right there. I'll let him jump in right now to really get into more detail about our renderings and our construction timeline.
Thanks, Crispus. Just making sure that everybody can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, great. So first of all, thanks for everybody being here and sticking with us through the 8 o'clock hour. We're really excited about the renovation, the transformation of Capital One Arena, and our commitment to staying downtown in DC and really revitalizing and doing our part to help revitalize your neighborhood, our neighborhood. There have been some renderings that have been released to the public, and everybody has seen them. But I think that the big thing that we're trying to do is make it new. Our building is 27 years old. The typical life cycle of a major sports venue like this is roughly 30 years. So it's in need of an update, and we're going to do things to improve the fan experience, the relationship with the neighborhood, how it communicates on the exterior, but also the ability for people to move through the building. So expanding our entrances to get people off the sidewalks and into the building faster, creating more concessions, points of sale in the building to create faster service, create more variety, and partnering with local restaurants to bring their food products and give a sample of the neighborhood fare to folks in the arena. We want to create new restrooms so people are Ted, this is one of Ted's big things, is giving people the opportunity to see as much of the action on the ice and on the basketball court as possible. So increasing the fixture count in the restrooms to get people out of lines and into the seats. We're going to try to get some immersive technology on the concourses to make sure that whether you're grabbing a beer or in your seat, we have an experience that rivals anything that could be happening on the home sofa. Where the building, as I said, is 27 years old now, so we need to make some improvements for our elevators and escalators as well. As when the building opened up in 1997, sports facilities were different. You didn't have to go through security. There there wasn't all of the concessions offerings that we have today. And the flow throughout the facility was very different. So we need to modernize our facility and make sure it works better. And part of that is new social spaces, a new team store, and really expanding the footprint beyond the building into the gallery place atrium and Bed Bath and Beyond space to really open up some opportunity for us to do some of these renovations that we're speaking about. MC, you can go forward. We wanted to just, I think everybody's had a chance to see the renderings and everything's been in the public, but we'll just quickly go through it. This is the new entrance, which is located on F Street. Really get people in the building in a much more efficient manner. Again, another look at it. A new concourse rendering moving forward with much more expanded concourses, more dwell space. An LED screen on the left side of the screen that, as you walk the concourse, kind of gives you that look and feel as if you're looking out into the building as you walk the concourse, similar to like going to a baseball game at Nats Park, to really have a view to the ice and the basketball court at all times. You can see this is actually at F Street, and we've moved the escalators to create more concourse space, so you don't have to feel like you're a sardine as you walk the concourse. And then up on the fourth floor, a new expanded food hall. I think it's a big commitment and partnership with the city that, we're making an investment that's not just for the athletes and ownership and the people spending a lot of money with their feet on the floor and seats on the glass, that we're going to be improving the experience for every fan coming into the building. So better concourses, better food options, more restrooms, better seats on the 400 level as well. And, a big component of this is investment in the athlete spaces as well. Our building's old. We want to make sure that we have competitive teams, and to have competitive teams, you need to have competitive venues and buildings. So it's a recruiting tool to get the best talent. We want to make sure that we're investing in the home locker rooms for the Wizards and the Capitals, but also the away locker rooms as teams cycle through our facility and they see how well they are treated as visiting athletes. We want to make sure that, when they're considering free agency, they consider the Wizards and the Capitals because of how well the athletes are treated. So a new Wizards facility, new Capitals facilities, as depicted in these renderings. And that's our update.
Yes, Jordan said that's our update. I'll add one other thing. In our meeting with the Restaurant Association, I think it's important for ANC 2C to be aware of this as well. We will be shut down during the summertime for 3 summers, for 25, 26, and 27. That means that Capital One Arena, for all intents and purposes, will be non-operational. And so those wonderful concerts that we've experienced over the past summer, we're going to lose those for 3 summers. It's necessary work. And we're bringing that to your. We've talked to the Restaurant Association, Deputy Mayor's office, Tom Bid, and we're all aware. And we think it's very important for us to work as a community to continue to make some activations to downtown during those 3 summers. The restaurants have expressed some concern, and we hear them. And so we need to put our heads together to lessen the burden and lessen the load, bring some other folks downtown during that particular time. What that looks like right now, I don't know, but this is for a further conversation for us to engage on.
That's awesome. So it sounds like will this construction will start after the season through the summer, and then it will pause, or you'll just do sections of the building at a time?
Jordan?
Yeah, I'll answer it. I think we're breaking it up into, I'll call it 6 phases. The odd number phases are what we would call in season, so October through April. So 1, 3, 5, and then 2, 4, and 6 would be the summer months from April through September, where we'll be doing majority of the work in the 2, 4, and 6 phases. So the summers of 25, 26, and 27. And we're still, determining the exact sequencing of what's going to happen. But we do know that the first summer will likely be the event level, just because for everything to happen within the arena, we need to solve the event level first. And some of the support spaces like the expansion into Gallery Place into Bed Bath and Beyond, as some of our back of house areas need to be located over there. And while we're working on the event level, that means we should be doing the athlete spaces on the event level too. So the first domino to fall will likely be the event level this summer. So we will start some work this season once the funding is finalized through council. And that's work that can be done that won't impact any fans. So like the work in Bed Bath and Beyond, there's some work within the old Vita space that can happen. But the majority of the work that would impact any kind of game day operations or fan experience won't happen until the season's end. So as Chris has said, we are planning for April 15th, but hoping for June 15th. I hope that the Caps make a run. They're playing great hockey right now, and I don't know if everyone saw the news, but they just brought back a Stanley Cup hero, Lars Eller, to the team. Just traded for him, so they are definitely getting prepared to make a deep run in the playoffs, and we'll tailor our construction around that.
That's awesome. Terrific. Just out of curiosity, in your meetings with council members, have they been supportive of the sale of the arena?
They have been, yes, they have been. We talked to just about every council member, and they understand why that's the case, and it's for efficiency purposes.
Yeah, of course.
And once we run through the process of this is pretty normal in the sports, they've been fine. No opposition so far.
Okay, good. Because I was curious if there was opposition from that standpoint happening. Terrific. This is really exciting. We are very excited that the Caps and Wizards are staying and that this investment is being made. I hope your construction is delayed until June 15th at least. And we'll
have another block party. We'll have another block party on
another
17th.
block party. That sounds absolutely fantastic to me.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you need from the ANC at this point to be supportive to this process?
Sure. I would say with our hearing on Thursday, it's at 10:45 in the council chamber. A letter of support from the ANC, I think, will go a long way, particularly for the committee record, but also for other council members to see that we're all speaking, from the same voice or singing from the same sheet of music.
What time is it?
10:45
On this Thursday.
this Thursday, correct.
Terrific. I would like to move that we send a letter of support for Capital One Arena, the renovations and the sale of the arena to DC.
I second.
Seconded by Commissioner Lee, and all those in favor. So 2 of 2 commissioners present voting in favor of that. We will get that letter off and we'll send that. We'll send a copy of that to you, but we'll send to Mendelson's office and the council secretary as well.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
Chairman.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Terrific. Thank you. And if there's anything that we can continue to do to be supportive, we're here for you and want to make sure that this happens.
Absolutely. And we will be more than happy to look at our schedule and host one ANC meeting at District E.
We would love that. Thank you for that invitation. That would be really great.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
One suggestion is that I know that you're going to reach out to some restaurants in the area.
Yes.
I just encourage you to reach out to some of the restaurants in the Chinatown neighborhood because they could certainly use some exposure.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're in constant contact with Sean Townsend. We actually hosted them at District E. We hosted Sean Townsend and the restauranteurs from the area at District E to really talk about how we can get through the next few summers and hear their concerns. And we brought in the deputy mayor as well. And we're having continued conversations with them as to how we can all just, peacefully coexist.
Awesome. It's great.
Thank
Thank you
Mr.
so
Chairman.
much
Thank
for
you.
being here. Appreciate it. Awesome. Yeah. They may have better tech. I'm sure they do have better tech than what we do. It would be a lot less stressful than me setting up tech. Next on our agenda is 624 I Street.
We had some questions in the chat.
Oh, okay. Let's,
I see them now. Can we get some better wine options in the arena? Of course, we want to make sure that we're catering to every fan in the building, and obviously want to step the game up from a culinary food and beverage perspective through the renovations. There are questions around about what will MSC be doing with the G Street Alley. Still finalizing plans. That would be one of the later phases of work, but the intention is to try to drive more footfall to that side of the building, and create a larger, better entrance sequence for fans, and drive business up and down the 6th and 7th Street corridors, and not just have, I would say 60% of our fans coming in through F Street, the rest through these stairwells. So to create a better, grander entrance and help support the businesses up and down that corridor. And I think the last question is around the rooftop bar that was contemplated, and that's being thought about to be within, essentially above where the Gallery Place atrium awning is right now, connected to the 4th floor concourse of the arena.
Terrific. All right. Thank you so much for that update. We appreciate it. Thanks, Jordan. Okay, now we're ready for you. Terrific. Did you want me? Got it. Let me see if I can pull this presentation up. Sorry about all of our tech issues.
Yeah, if you give me the file.
I can send it. Yeah.
Goodness gracious, I've got USB-C only.
I can forward it to you. Sorry about that. This has been one evening of tech nightmare. Okay.
Send it to my Gmail. That'll be fastest.
You send this to me? You email it to me.
Lewis.
Found it. Got it. Okay, I am sending it right now. Okay, great. Done. The PDF. Okay. Just waiting for it. It must be. There we go.
Oh, there you are. Share this. Okay, go.
All right. There we go.
All right,
Yay.
great. Thank you. Thank you very much. So you can advance to the next slide, Thomas. So I'm Josh Olson from Monument Realty, not to be confused with Monumental. And we're coming before you concerning the properties in the 600 block of H Street and I Street, so bounded by 6th and 7th, and then H and I. So the green property up on I Street and the purple property down on H Street. And this is both an update and a request. So the update first on H Street, if you can go to the next slide. So that we will be having a groundbreaking on that next month. So it's obviously been a long time in the making, but we are finally there. We'll be breaking ground. We have financing arranged. We got the housing in downtown tax abatement, which is a new program that the city has to encourage more residential and conversion from commercial uses.
This is a little closer to you.
Sure.
There you go.
So that's very exciting that project's moving forward. What we would like to do is then move forward on I Street next summer. But we still have some, yeah, and you can go to the next slide. We still have some wood to chop there. So this slide shows the northern half of the block, so the I Street properties with I Street at the top, and the bottom is actually the alley that's in the center of the block. And that property consists mostly of these commercial row houses along I Street, which are the beige colored buildings. There's also some buildings on the alley itself, which are also beige colored. And in particular, we'd like to talk to you about the warehouse, which is at 616 I Street behind the row house that's on the street. So this is an alley structure. And as you probably know, we actually have an approved project here. We're actually looking to simplify it. So the approved project was very complicated. We were connecting to the back of the row homes. It was 10 stories in height. And we'd like to actually reduce it in scale, bring it down to 7 or 8 stories, separate it from the row homes so that we're not trying to support those structurally as part of a new project. Basically keep the row homes separate, have a new building behind it, and proceed that way. So which should hopefully be a simpler project and one that's easier to get started. However, that being said, the first question that we need answered by Historic Preservation Review Board is whether that warehouse that's behind 616 I Street can be demolished. So again, we already have approval in our existing approval to demolish it, but since we're simplifying the plan, we have to ask the question again and get approval again. So next slide. That is the warehouse. It's a 5-story structure, concrete, very utilitarian in nature. It was originally built to store furniture for a moving company. As you can see, it's got one window for each floor and is basically a concrete bunker. And if you go to the next slide, I mean, it's interesting, right? You've got these very nice, very handsome row homes on I Street, and then this 5-story concrete thing rising behind one of them.
So is it both buildings that you want to demolish, or just the one?
Just the 5-story one. So you can see in that picture to the left, there's a 2-story building that would still be preserved. There's also a 1-story building that used to be a auto repair shop that also would be preserved. It's just this 5-story one that does not have much charm to it and is unfortunately right smack in the middle of the site that we're looking to be able to demolish. If you go to the next slide after that, so that's I Street again with the warehouse, and then next slide. So we hired as part of gearing up for this process, we hired a structural engineer who's also a historic preservation specialist to go through the building and determine its current condition. And you can see their conclusions there. The primary gravity and vertical lateral load resisting elements have deteriorated beyond repair or structural rehabilitation. The deterioration is such that it can't really be repaired. If we were to keep the building, we'd basically just be replacing the structure. And at that point, all the building is structure. I mean, all it is a concrete structure. So we're basically replacing it based on its current condition. Next slide, the engineer also looked at the international existing building code and how this building compared to what was expected, and again concluded that it should be demolished. So next slide. The specific request that we're making of Historic Preservation Review Board is that they deem the building to be non-contributing based on a lack of structural integrity. There's obviously, maybe I shouldn't say obviously, but the building doesn't have any ornaments or really anything, unlike the row homes out front. It really is just the structure, and that structure, the building hasn't been occupied for decades, so it's deteriorated. And there's next slide is, instead of the engineer's report, you can see some of the damage. So what you have there is a column, and you can see that the concrete is coming off. The concrete construction has reinforcing bars in it, metal bars. And what happens is if those bars get wet, they begin to rust and they begin to expand, and that forces apart the concrete column. So you can see that's happening all the way up and down the building there. And then the next slide is the other side of the building. That's a close-up. So those metal bars that I was talking about, those are the reinforcing bars that are rusting. I mean, you can see in the picture on the left, that's supposed to be a column holding up the building, and it's deteriorated to almost nothing. And then the next slide, this again goes all the way up the building in terms of the state of the columns. So we're again, it's a little complicated because we already had approval to demolish this, but since we're modifying the plan, we have to go back and ask them again whether we can do that. So next slide. That's on the interior of the building. You can see some of the damage that's occurred there, roof lintel that's falling apart, and then one of the concrete beams, that crack in it, which doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but I mean, it's the same thing that's happening on the exterior. The reinforcing bar is failing, it's pushing apart the beam, and the beam can really no longer do its job with a big crack running down the center of it like that. Next slide. So, and this is the specific request of the ANC that you support us in going to HPRB and asking for their determination that the building is non-contributing due to loss of structural integrity.
Could you, you said that the change, I'm not quite sure of the change that you made to the site that is triggering this.
So we will be coming back to you with that.
Oh, with the change.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Got it.
The problem is we can't design it without knowing whether this building has to stay or whether it can come down. So once we get that answer, we're going to come back to you with that. Like I said, it will generally be simplifying what we had before. So making it less high and not connecting to the back of the row homes.
Got it. Got it. So it will be, there's going to be some kind of is the intention, you think, to still connect to the row homes? Was that always the intention initially?
The row homes will be part of the project, but previously the whole building basically connected to the row homes. We had our lobby in one of the row homes, and it came through. So now the idea is to try to separate those. The row homes will become residences themselves. Then there'll be a building behind them, but completely separate structurally from the row homes.
Oh, I gotcha. I got what you're saying. Okay. So that's what's triggering. Okay. Gotcha. Yes, I would say a crack in a beam like that is frightening to me. I would, if that was in my home, I would be like, oh, there's something majorly wrong here. With that. Yes, I've seen this building previously and, yeah. I have no issue with this. The other buildings, is your intention to incorporate those into the
Yes.
structure?
Yes, that's still the intent with
Yeah.
those buildings.
Got it.
What would become of the garage?
So in the previous approval, it was a community center. Commissioner Lee, I think we've talked about this before. There was a dance company that had signed on to use it, and then also the 1882 Foundation.
Yes.
We would like to still do that with them. So that's the current thinking.
Got it.
Sounds good.
The city, as you know, is interested in activating the alley.
Yeah.
So the thought is if we had that community area back there and then made it more inviting to come in from I Street down the alley, that would be one way of achieving that activation. Again, I mean, this particular building, I don't think helps with activating the alley.
No, does not.
Is the weathered brick of any particular use as a building material if you're trying to get an old weathered look for your design?
So we're going to suggest to HPRB that we will not demolish the building immediately, but instead, if they approve allowing us to demolish it, that we will then come back with the full plans and they can tell us if they want to reuse the brick, if there's some sort of memorialization or some sort of describing the history of the warehouse that they want us to do, that'll be available as an option and that we won't demolish it until those decisions are made.
Got it.
Yeah, I move that we grant the request to
the letter of support.
Sign a letter of support to write a letter of support to how do we word this?
HBRC.
To HBRC on the demolition of the warehouse structure at 610 to 624 I Street Northwest.
I will second that. And I saw that you sent a sample letter along with that.
We did.
I will get that off right away. Oh, well, I guess we have to vote. So 2 of 2 commissioners voting in favor of that. So I'll get a letter off right away for you.
Okay.
And when do you think the next things you'll be doing design if they approve that process and then
That's
you'll
right.
be coming
So
back?
we'd probably be back in January or February
Awesome.
to show you the design.
Sounds great.
All right.
I'm very excited. It's awesome that things are moving.
We're very excited as well.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yes. So thank you. Thank you
Awesome.
for your support.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. All right. And our final item tonight on our agenda, I lost my agenda, is 727th Street, Raising Cane's Chinatown. And this is the installation of new signage for that establishment. Let me see. Can I send you something else,
Yes,
Thomas?
you may. Trying to find it.
Is anybody on representing the establishment? Okay. Let's see here. Here we go. Sorry about that.
This is the La Tosca site.
Yes, the La Tosca site. So Raising Cane is coming to DC. And they're going to go into the La Tosca site that has been empty for quite some time. I think that may have been closed even before pandemic in that situation. So what they are asking to do is to brand the establishment. And they did send some pictures. This is from Chinatown Review Committee. open my,
You sent it, right, Mike?
I sent it to you. Yes, sir. And there we go. You would open the one that is C13.
You just arrived. There you are.
Yes, yes. So this would be the signage that they would be using their standard logo on the front view here. Whoops. The front view here, Raising Cane's, and they would be incorporating the Chinatown, the requirement for Chinese lettering on the signage along 7th Street. There is not I don't believe there's a requirement for a blade here that comes out on this particular section of the street. The fact that they have made the Chinese letters this same size as the Raising Cane's is great, and incorporated their brand, as long as that says something about.
I'll have to take it home.
I was going to really test you, Thomas. Thomas. But I think it looks like a good design. It doesn't look like there's any other signage other than that. They're going to repaint the red to that color to match the rest of the building, which I think will blend in the streetscape better.
Sounds good.
I'd like to move that we send a letter of support for Raising Cane's Chinatown restaurant signage.
I second.
Seconded by Commissioner Lee, and all those in favor. 2 of 2 commissioners voting in favor of that. That is our agenda for this evening. I don't believe there's any other items of business that we have here. Our next meeting will be on December 10th, 2024. I believe we are now going to be in this room moving forward, the 401A room, but we will just confirm that, the bigger room, but it will be December 10th, 2024, 6 p.m., same place, same time. For those of you who are joining us online, you got the correct link this evening. Please be certain that you are accessing and sharing the link that includes dc-gov. We did move our Zoom account under the district's Zoom accounts this month. This is the first time that we have done that, so it is a new Zoom link that we did distribute, and we'll distribute that for our next meeting as well. With that, I'd like to move that we adjourn our meeting.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Lee. Thank you all so much.
Oh, yeah.
Now we went chicken finger. I know, I'm like, ah.